SUVs are big business for manufacturers. Take the Arona. It first appeared back in 2017 and since then it's sold over 350,000 models. And it's not surprising. It's nimble, it's economical, it's perfect for the family and a decent price. This is the new Seat Arona. I'm Ben Quirk, welcome to Planet Auto. They're the perfect blend between a car and an SUV. Not too big, not too small, practical for the family, and it looks pretty damn cool too. You've got this, then you've got the Ateca, and then you've got the Tarraco. To be perfectly honest, it's not changed that much, but it didn't really need to. Now the thing about the Seat Arona is it's nimble on a back road, and on a road trip, like we did to Edinburgh last week, it offers over 50 to the gallon. Yeah, you will read reviews saying that no, it'll start slowing down going up steep hills. Well, yeah, it comes with the territory. It's 3-cylinder. But if you're in the right gear and you don't drop gears unnecessarily, well, it'll pull. And even on motorways, it's got decent power. Now, when it comes to trims, there's 6 to choose from. And we've got the FR Sport. Now, some of the trims have been renamed, but you can still get things like an SE technology. The range starts at around 21,000. Ours is just over 25. And then you can top out at about 26,500 with the Xperience Lux. Now there's no electric, there's no hybrid, and there's no diesel. We've got a 1 litre TFSI, and it's 3-cylinder. It's also turbocharged. And when this first arrived, Annabelle and myself were pleasantly surprised. For a start, it's got a 6-speed manual. Lovely short shift, but you don't need to go for that. You could go for the DSG with dual clutch, and that's 7-speed. Get it on a B road, great fun. Handles like a car, but has the dimensions of a small SUV. You could go for a 1.5 4-cylinder. It's turbocharged and it offers around 150 brake. Due to its size and dimensions, it makes this rather capable. I suppose the one thing that really appeals about this is the fact it still retains the look of the Arona. They've just refined it. You can actually see that they've changed a fair bit. This has been reshaped. Now they've moved the spots from here to here. And there's a vent here, and that allows airflow. This has been completely restructured. You can see some of the safety, and I like this sporty lip. It gives it an aggressive look with the new styling and the additions of, say, this swoosh here, especially coupled with this new design of the grille. Makes it bolder, makes it more striking. Also, they've uprated some of the tech. Now lights, well, they're automatic, you can get high beam assist, and you can either go for eco or full LED. Rain sensing wipers and a range of safety too, including collision detection. You can also get parking sensors and park assist dependent on trim. I really love the shape of the bonnet. It actually reminds me of Quattro, and an early one at that, say a rally car, because of it's a kind of bulge. Just look at the airflow here and the shaping that runs into the wing. Very nice. Now with the FR Sport you get 18-inch wheels. Now if you go for, say, an SE technology, there'll be 17s, and if you go for a higher trim, you can even get 19s. But I think these are perfectly sized for the vehicle. Now it's not the highest profile tyre, but on road it feels good. Decent ride height, so that allows you to go and do a little bit of adventuring. And I think they look very smart, especially with the plastic cladding here. They also match the rest of the vehicle. Look at our mirror caps, and we've got a 2-tone roof too. Desire red. A magnetic tech grey. So on the A-pillars and the full roof. I love a 2-tone SUV. Now that is an optional extra. The Arona's got such a clean design style. For example, no sporty side skirts. And this just gives it that bit extra. Let's take a look inside. Now dependent on the trim you go for, you can get keyless entry. The door opens nice and wide, and this is a decent opening. Now immediately I'm met with a hard plastic, but I am a fan of this insert. I do like an addition of colour on the door card. Also this is padded and the build quality is good too. Climbing in, absolutely no problem, but there is no grab handle. And a 6-speed manual. Some of the styling's changed. Now if you go for the FR or the FR Sport, you get an FR steering wheel and these rather sporty bucket seats, manual with height adjustment, and they're finished in micro suede. They're comfortable, they're supportive. I've got a footrest here. Everything's straightforward. For example, this rotary here, this is where you set your lights. Lovely solid clunk. Mind you, I always expect great build quality, and I always get it in anything that's VWG. And in case you're wondering, this is built on the MQB platform. So vehicles like the T-Cross and the Polo. Everything's easy to reach, proper buttons and rotary dials. Now the infotainment screen, we've got the bigger one because we've got the FR Sport, and you get Seat Connect, so that'll give you Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is wireless. You've also got satellite navigation, DAB radio, and a whole host of settings. I'm really glad that they put a digital cluster in here. For a start, it allows you to have your navigation in there, and you can see a whole host of other information too, including your economy and even your media. Now that's operated with the buttons on the steering wheel. I love the additions that tell you it's something different. For example, FR here, the red stitching and the red accents and the magnetic grey surrounds. Everything just makes you think, ooh, this is a bit special. Materials, good quality and interesting to the touch, and the mix of colours. Lots of practicality, cup holders, 12-volt socket, old school handbrake with a leather surround and more red stitching. That's the thing, they don't scrimp on any of the styling. We've got some USB-Cs and a wireless charging pad. We've also got start stop, one of my favourite buttons, the driving modes. You've got eco, normal, individual and sport. Now there are a lot of hard plastics, but that makes it robust and easy to clean. It also keeps the price down too. Headroom, well at 6'3", absolutely no problem. Legroom, the same. Now there are a few blanks here. The likelihood is they'd be filled in on, say, the Xperience Lux. Now if you go for an FR, you don't get heated seats, but if you go for the FR Sport, you do. Also we've got dual zone climate, some map reading lights, and finally an auto dimming mirror. And you can get a sunroof. One thing that I find really fun about these vehicles is, for example, we've got cosmic grey wheels, but on the FR you get nuclear grey. Who comes up with these colour names? Cool. You've got discs all round and the front are vented. Let's take a look in the rear. The door opens nice and wide, and this isn't a bad opening either. Yeah, hard plastics once again, and no coloured insert. You've not even got a padded armrest. I am sad to see there's not one of those, to be honest. You've got an electric window and a decent door pocket. Climbing in though, well, no problem. This is quite high actually, and it makes climbing in, even at 6'3", quite easy. I can get my feet under the seats and I've got decent leg room. And there's even a recess here. Now as we've got the FR Sport, they've certainly emphasised sport, but you don't need to go for that. If you go for one of the other trims, you can get far lighter interiors. One thing that really appeals is this is raised, so I've got a good view out the windscreen. Interestingly, it's not as dark as I expected. You've got privacy glass and a dark headliner, but a lot of light comes in through the rear window. This like quarter light window lets a bit of light in too. Comfortable seats. It appears as though you've got two separate seats as opposed to just a bench. No pull down armrest, but they're finished in micro suede and it's very comfortable. Now one thing I'm not too keen on is the hard plastics here. It would have been nice to see some padding. This is what you call a fair old raised transmission tunnel. Storage point here, but we've got no vents. Also there's no charging points either. Airbags throughout the vehicle, and we've got ISOFIX points too. This is a boon. It's amazing how many vehicle manufacturers leave out a rear light. From the rear you can really tell it's a compact little number, and the first thing I've noticed is Arona is written in a new font, and I'm sure I saw that many years ago on the back of the L Born. Now we've got LED lights, but you can get eco dependent on trim. Sporty styling, and there's some redesign here too. We've also got rear parking sensors and a reversing camera and a sporty rear spoiler in magnetic grey. The two-tone really works. I'm also a real fan of the chunkiness here. It looks like it's got twin exhausts, but of course it hasn't. On my key fob I do have a boot release, but all it'll do is unlatch it. Once open, decent size and no boot lip. Shopping bag hooks and a rear light over there. Pretty hefty tethering points, and if you lift up this, we've got an inflation kit. You can see you can even drop the floor, so that'll give you more room, but it will also increase the boot lip. But it looks like you get a spare wheel in there. A grip on both sides to pull it closed. Easy to remove the parcel shelf, just pop these off and then just
give it a bop.
Dropping the seats is nice and easy. Just pull this forward. Now, they don't lock in place. Once down, it seriously increases the size. You quite easily get a mountain bike in here, but there is a slight gap here, so be aware of that. It doesn't lay entirely flat, but it's pretty close. In case you're wondering where the bonnet release is, it's here. Let's take a look under the bonnet. Nice easy latch here, but no struts. It's straightforward to see where you top up fluids. Old school petrol engine. Don't see many of those nowadays. It's great to see substantial dual bonnet catches. Welcome behind the wheel of the Seat Arona. Under the bonnet we've got a 1 litre TSI turbocharged petrol engine, which is 3-cylinder. And it's quite fun. I mean, we've driven with this engine a few times, but in an Arona I thought, will it impact the fun and punchiness that you get from a 3-pot with a turbo? And no, it can still pull. On paper, 0 to 60 in 10.6. Yeah, it doesn't sound fast, but through the gears, it does seem considerably quicker. And the best part about it is, it's extremely agile and nimble. On a back road, well, it surprised me. Economy-wise, well, I think we've been getting around 44 to the gallon.
It's taken everything we've thrown at it, this car.
Well, it has, yeah. The refinement's not bad in the cabin. You will get a bit of wind noise and tyre noise, but that's mostly dependent on the weather and whether the roads are actually any good. The thing about 3-cylinder cars is when you're pulling away, you may need to give it a little more revs. But the one thing I did notice is, well, essentially there's no vibration in the cabin, because some 3-cylinders do suffer from that. You've got your driving modes down here: normal, sport, yeah, my favourite, individual, and eco. And what they'll do is change the characteristics of the engine so it'll make it more economical, faster off the line. Now, even in eco, this was performing well on a motorway. And that's the thing, it doesn't feel underpowered. The cluster's nice and easy to read, and you can change the layout. You've got revs on the left and speedo on the right. Visibility, very good. The B pillars, yeah, perfect. You can do lifesaver looks easily. You might think with a 3-cylinder you'd have to drop gears a lot more, but you don't. Even at low revs, if you just say in second gear, you just put your foot down and it will pull away. Whereas some 3-cylinders do struggle a bit. But that's helped by a turbocharger. Yeah, it's a comfortable ride for the driver and the passenger, and the thing is, it doesn't feel, wow, it doesn't feel, what's the word, with an SUV you've got to be careful that you don't compromise any of the driving. It's agile, it's nimble, it feels well planted. Yeah, there is a bit of body roll, especially if you go from pushing it into a bend, but you expect that. Through the gears, well, if you stay on the turbo, you can make it shift. As for the box, a 6-speed manual. I mean, it's rare to get a manual, but this is a lovely box. It's a short shift. And nice smooth changes. Sorry, having far too much fun steering. Lovely little sporty wheel, leather wrapped, and very direct. And it does turn quite neatly. Weightens up nicely. You put your foot down. Now you can have a lot of fun in this. When we were on the Edinburgh road, we saw 4 other Aronas. So it shows that these vehicles get out adventuring. And I'm not surprised. I mean, we've done, what is it, 350 mile road trip, something like that. And it's not skipped a beat. An economy of anything from 40 to 50 miles to the gallon. I mean, yeah, fuel's a bit expensive at the moment, but that's pretty good. Safety wise, blind spot detection, lane keep assist, you've got cruise control on this. No, it's practical, it's perfect for a small family, and as I mentioned, it's agile, and it's got a decent ride height. And brakes, lights, I mean, considering it's about £24,000 for the FR, and it starts considerably cheaper, if you're after a small crossover, it's well worth looking at.